Welcome, everybody here watching Sunday League. We're here for the Finnish Grand Prix, the first ever running of the event in a Sunday League World Championship. We're so excited to be at the Kimi Ring today, and I'm so excited to be joined by Hetmenica.
Hello, that is me.
That is you. It should be a really interesting race. You've got gravel never too far away from the sides of the track, which has entertained some drivers and been an annoyance to others, but definitely should be on for a show here today in Sunday League. After some exciting real-life Formula 1 action today, we're looking forward to some SL racing. So, Het, what do you think we're going to see from the qualifying session?
Well, Danimator stated in the race lobby that he's not very confident about this race, so top 5 would already be very good for him. So that's going to be very interesting to see with a driver that's so far been superb every race.
Very much so. We've got Nuno followed by Hernandi as our provisional order. Nuno putting himself onto Provis pole, which will surprise pretty much no one. Sobel down in 14th from what I can see. Antti 6th place, him and Grandi and the Nordic Thunder team at their home race, and the Curbs, the flag, the livery, all their blue and white signature colours. It's really, really great to see. Kubo currently up in 5th place. He had good performances in Challenge League, winning both races. We'll have to see how he can do here in Sunday League. Might be on for a new best finish if he finishes 7th or higher. Grandi rockets himself up to 3rd place for his home Grand Prix, starting Grid Corvid 4th as it stands. Nuno and Hernandi both didn't improve. Grandi tied with Hernandi's lap, and so is Danimator and the Anti-Amazing. It's pretty interesting to see here. We'll have to see how this affects it.
May I also point out Quetzley is currently in the top 10.
Good to see. Scuderia Paracaro driver up there. They've had a good streak over the last few races. 6th place for Suicide last race. As it comes to the end of qualifying, Nuno will still take that pole position. It's a 35.25 Buda, just half a tenth off him. And Grandi looking to revive his form. He starts 3rd on the grid. Hernandi starts on the 2nd row alongside him. And Antti and Corvid tie with a 35.43 for 5th and 6th. Kraft will start a career high 7th for the Lynx Racing team. Danimator starts in 8th for Mayhem. That's not great. He'll be looking to recover up to the podium. Kubo starts 9th for Flowforce. Pretty decent next to Jaruni, our podium sitter 2 races ago. Quetzley will start in 12th place, and ahead of him is Pamucius. The BAR sandwich around him, with Isto starting in 13th place. Pamucius looks to be having technical issues already with his radio. He doesn't have any comms with his engineer, and going straight into the race from this is going to be tough. Sobel will start 14th, just ahead of Suicide, a poor start for the LSA driver, whose teammate will start in the top 4. Andres starts 16th. He replaces Nomskar as a last-minute reserve for Flowforce. Urist ahead of Caddo on the final row. The whole grid separated by just under 8/10 of a second. Hetmenica, your thoughts on that one?
Looking really good. I'm happy for Kraft. Currently in the race chat, there's a lot of hype for him. Kraft himself has stated that he's probably going to die in turn 1, but we can stay confident. Yeah, for the rest, it's not really something I'll comment on.
Fair enough. So pole position for Nuno. Race after he's taken 30. Sorry, was that Goose? Go on.
I was just saying, we had 3 personal bests last week, so I'd be curious to see if anyone could top it this week.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a pretty chaotic sprint race at the Circuito Cristais after the red flags came flying out. And it looks like we're going to have the starting flags waved. We're good to go here in Finland for the very first time in Sunday League. Finnish drivers start 3rd and 5th. We're underway here for the Finnish Grand Prix at the Kimi Ring. Nuno starts on pole. He'll start on the soft compound tyres. Hernandi on the mediums, just a little bit behind him. And Buda will catch the action as they go through there. Looks like Danimator was wide, and he's lost a lot of positions. Down to 17th place. 18th now. Very last is Danimator, and that's exactly the start that he didn't want. Mimon Buda comes back at Nuno. Up the inside, they go through the chicanes. Still here, Grandi and Hernandi just sweeps Kraft wide there, and he'll lose a couple positions, taking a wider line, a bit of grass there. Antti with a dive bomb down through Hernandi, and Quetzley off in the background, and Kraft with a little rocket there ahead of just Jaruni for the time being. Currently, Nuno still leads from Buda and Grandi. The top 3 remain unchanged, but a lot of chaos early on. What did you see?
big lag rocket that sent Mart to last. About 3 other cars were involved, but they didn't quickly catch who that were.
We're nearly 4 abreast coming into the hairpin here. Can Anti try manufacturer moving to the lead of the race? Nuno takes the grass. It could have been much worse for him. He's on the precarious outside line, but takes a couple positions because of it. Fantastic driving from the man who's just won his 30th race. Anti up the inside. He's in second place. Buda looks to take his first career win. And Grandy with a little bit of lag there, sending off the track. Goose. Nuno off. Anything to say from the co-coms at the moment?
Yeah, we've got Grandy doing some bad teleporting, but he seems to be keeping it clean. I wonder if he's going to get mixed up with any of the other high pingers. Another big crash, though.
Big crash there. Oh, and Pamusha's just waving there, but it was Nuno and Hanandi worst affected by that. They're behind this enormous pack, headed by Pamusha's, Kraft and Corvid, Grandy and Kubo and Jaruni, all in there. Antin Caddo up to the back of them now. This is basically half the field with Singo wheel to wheel. Meanwhile, Buda running away. Pamusha's in the BAR. No comms for him, but he's in second place. Hetz, what's going on?
Terrible luck for Hanandi. He's been sent to the gravel about 3 times in this lap.
Oh my.
He's falling way down.
Poor fella. Pamushas and Kubo wide there on that very, very tricky hairpin corner. That's allowed Nuno, and it looks like Grandy to make up compositions. Good start for Sobel as well. Jaruni currently in second place. So he could take his second podium in 3 races. Pamushas will fight him for it, and Nuno comes back up the inside. Jeru started on the medium compound tyre. In fact, a lot of the field started on all different tyres, to be honest. We've got a good 6 runners on the mediums. We've got about 8 on the hards and 4 on the soft. So really interesting to see that. And Sober with a huge dive bomb up the inside. Not sure what the thought process was there. We can assume that he got punted into that, but a lot of chaos because of that. And Caddo's made up 10 positions at the start from last place. What's happened here?
I'd see Grandy, Soul, Anti maybe. Like 3 cars came just driving out of the gravel. I didn't catch the incident itself.
Grandy, I think it was, yeah. And the LSA's back there as well. Now, all in a battle with Scuderia Paracaro. Meanwhile, up the field, well, we're just going to follow Danny as he gets thrown into the grass again. And Sobel and Grandy, the drivers who started right up the field. I mean, at least Grandy was. Gwetzley off into the grass there as well. He's going to be an easy pass for. Looks like Danimator or Sobel and Grandy both come into the pit lane. So that's really interesting to see.
We had an incident where about 4 cars went about 4 wide. So Hanandi, Gwetzley both were at the short end of that. Gwetzley especially. Hanandi took a little bit of grass. Gwetzley was just sent into the gravel. Went about from 7th to 11th.
What an incredible start for Caddo. He's made up 13 places off the start of the race. Anti battling him at the moment. And Hanandi, who was 17th just a couple laps ago, back up into 6th. This has truly been one of the more chaotic starts we've seen. And definitely my time in Sunday League. Side by side go the LSA and the RMC as they fight over the Constructors' Championship. Looks like the second position. It'll be those 2 teams scrapping over. These drivers scrapping over 5th and 6th on the track at the moment. Jaruni not far behind. Anti and Kubo, Kraft and Gwetzley. Look at this, nearly 4 abreast, and none of them come through that one well. Jesus, describe it, Het.
Lag rocket dead for him.
Fair enough. Kraft and Eurist here, they're fighting over 11th position. The Lynx's Eurist might have been forced a little bit wide there. Isto looking up the inside. The Lynx is still going at it. Kraft takes a big grass cut there, and he'll lose a couple positions as a result of that. Nuno's into the lane, as is Buda. It looks like those are the only 2 at the moment.
Yeah, Gwetzley's worked his way up quite nicely into, 8th now due to some pit stops, but he started out second last down there with Danimator. On the other hand, Daruni has tumbled down the order from 2nd. He went to 11th, climbing his way back up into 6th now.
Pamusha leads the Finnish Grand Prix on lap 8 of 43 here, and it's currently Caddo holding the fastest lap, running in 3rd position. He's not made a pit stop yet. Buda, Nuno, Grandy, Danimator, Kraft and Isto all have, and this is a big fight as Buda looks to get his way back through. Caddo still keeping it going, well, he's going to go into the pit lane now. Hanandi is also into the lane, and Gwetzley goes through and takes a nice little position up there. He's in 5th place, the Scuderia Paracaro car. We've got cars from all different teams fighting out at the front here, and this is what we love to see. A BAR followed by an FGR followed by a Mayhem, Flow Force, Scuderia Paracaro, a Lynx, an RMC and a Nordic Thunder. That's incredible to witness. Look at that.
Did you catch that?
What was that?
Gwetzley made a very daring overtake on Kubo that somehow went good for both.
They're still side by side. Can he take another move? They both run wide, and Nuno has to try and sweep through both of them. Yep, that's a sweep into the wall. To be expected from that final corner, but we'll have to see how they can develop. Meanwhile, Nuno has a 3-second gap to Buda. This is the way it's been since Buda broke through that front pack and Nuno didn't. What have we got going on here?
Andries, he tried to get to his pit box. I think that might have been just behind Leaks or something, because Andries just hit Jurist and I think lost at least a few tenths. Getting to his pit box.
Danny pushed off into the grass there as well, and that battle between him, Antti, Sobel, Grandi, and Kubo all currently fighting at the moment. Kubo head of this train. Grandi goes for the move. We'll have a look through at the tyres as we see Pamushas finally comes into pit lane, as does Gwetsley. Where will Pimu come out into this pack? It's going to be pretty much in the mix of it. He doesn't get in the way of Danny, but he'll just latch onto the back of this slipstream train, although slipstream might not be the right word considering how chaotic the race start has been. Danny shaping up for a move, potentially going into the hairpin at the end of the back straight. He gets a good exit and will force his way ahead of Kubo, and that's not a bad move whatsoever. Buda currently leads us. He's on the hards, a few laps worn, as are Nuno's. Grandi's slightly older, as are Sobel's. Then we've got Danimator, our first non-hard runner. He's on the mediums, and they're a similar age. Pemu on very fresh hards. He's looking good here, potentially for a third place in this stint. Kubo finally into the lane. He's not stopped a single time, one of only 3 drivers. The other one, well, one of the other 2 was Antti, and the other one was Suicide. They're all into the pit lane on lap 11 to get off those hard compound tyres. Kubo's teammate goes through Andries, took the undercut there, and Suicide puts on the softs. The man who qualified 9th in Central Park, finished 6th at the Circuito Cristais. He's come back to Europe, and he might just be coming back down to earth with a P18 position at the moment. Fight over 3rd place. Het, what have we missed so far?
Not much. I saw a battle between Antti and Jurist, which of course a duo that is amazing together. And it went on for like at least half a lap, which was a great battle, really. I think Antti came out on top at the end.
Interesting to see. Antti down in 17th place, not quite where he wanted to be at his own Grand Prix. We're going to have light rain, that's LR, at the moment, and not SR, that would be, I don't know what that is. Oh, maybe small rain, that's right.
Light rain, yeah.
That makes sense for Pamushas. And here comes the rain. Oh, look at the FGRs.
Oh.
Blimey. Hernandi got absolutely mugged there. They're going to double stack at FGR. Corvette. Whoa. Oh, and Sobel backwards. Sobel backwards through the pit lane. This is bad news. Bad news as the clouds come back. And Sobel backwards has put back on some slicks. So he just decided to come into the pits, do a donut, and put the hard tyres back on. Honestly, immensely respect that. The front 2 have put on the intermediate tyres. They pitted beforehand. Caddo is running in 3rd position next to Kraft for 4th. Gwetsley for 5th as he sends himself deep into the gravel. Pamushas is on the inters. He's one of only 3 drivers on that intermediate tyre. And all the drivers who came in look to have put back on a dry compound. That's incredible to see. The Lynxes are up here as well. Corvid and Gwetsley behind them. They're drifting their way through as the track is drying up. Can Corvid overtake 4 cars? Looks like he might be able to. Jurist is running in 4th at the moment. The Australian right behind him. And Caddo has dropped back a little bit here. Danimator looks to recover from that poor start. And he's right behind Kraft. He gets through on Kraft and Caddo. Jurist running. And oh my god. Corvid running in 4th, and then fire up. Now it's Gwetsley going side by side with him. The track is dry. The front 2 will be into the pit lane, but the gap is so substantial that I think the inters might have been the right call in the end. What do you think, Het?
I have absolutely no idea. This is some of the wildest stuff I've seen in my year here. Ooh, Danimator goes off.
Danny off indeed. Look at that. That final sector is so treacherous. But Pamushas, who put on the inters, will come out in the mid-pack, and he puts on the tyres now. It's not good news for him. He doesn't have a weather radar. He's come out next to his old teammate, the anti-amazing. 15th and 16th, his teammate, and 17th behind. Sobel, Kraft and Grandi. Big lag rocket going through there. What was that now?
Gwetsley's fighting for the podium, actually.
That's interesting. We'll have a look at tyres. Buda and Nuno on fresh hards. Corvid slightly older. Gwetsley slightly older than that, but still in a very respectable condition. 4th place as it is, on track, on merit for the Swiss driver at the moment in that Scuderia Paracaro red and blue and white livery, and that's really fascinating to see. We've got Girouni behind in a big train. Hernandi looks to have maybe not benefited the most off that, but he's actually doing all right. He's next to his LSA teammate, Urus, Caddo, and Kubo. Is it going to be 5 wide into the hairpin? Who's going to lose that big time here? It's Kubo, side by side with Danny in the background, and Caddo trying to get through on Sobel now. Can he make a move past Urus? The last time we had Urus defending a big train of cars, it was Bruno, and that didn't end too swimmingly for anyone, apart from Jake. Caddo and Kubo wide there, and Urus loses a lot of positions. He's down to 13th. That's probably 5 overtakes from on him in one lap. Caddo comes into the pit lane now. Goose or Hat, anything to mention?
Not really, no.
Fair.
Well, it's just been a chaotic.
Yeah, absolutely has. Gwetzel and Corvid, 3rd and 4th still. Corvid hasn't taken his first podium in Sunday League, but you bet he's close to it. Girouni did. Just a couple of races ago, as probably already mentioned. Go on, Hap.
Oh no, it's the Gwetsley move that got me excited.
He's doing well to stay in this slip. He's only pitted 1 time, and he's still staying in that slipstream, leeching some extra seconds off of Corvid. Well done.
Absolutely, it's crucial for a driver who's on slightly fresher tyres than you just to be able to slip them and essentially make your pace their pace, and that can really help out and set off the tyre differential that you have as a result of undercutting. So Girouni has made 2 stops. We've got 3 for our front runners, and Corvid not a million miles away from them now. Nuno still with a pretty constant gap to Buda. That has been 2 or 3 seconds there or thereabouts for a lot of the race. And these are 2 drivers pretty much in their element. Buda looking for that first win. Corvid looking for that first podium. Gwetzel looking for that first podium, I suppose, but probably might want to just take baby steps at the time being. Does he have a top 10 finish in Sunday League, I wonder? I'm not sure if he does just yet. Girouni behind.
This season, P12 is his personal best with his fast lap, so he's looking to get into the top 10.
Yeah. Well, 4th is a good way to do it. Sobel, Danimator, and Hernandi, the more traditionally front-running drivers, currently fighting over 6th, 7th, and 8th positions behind the FGR and the SCP. Grandy runs in 9th, and Pamushas and Anti have recovered their way back up, but that's mainly due to a lack of pit stops. Jeru and Gwetzel both into the lane. Anti will be in pretty soon. Here they come out side by side, and Kuba will just duck underneath them into turn 1, and not much they could do about that with the exit speeds out of the lane. They just open that door. He walks through it, but they've got his slipstream. They're going to go 3 wide down the main straight here. Will it be an overtaking opportunity for Girouni? Kubo slightly lags out there, and Gwetzel just takes it cautiously wide into that corner, but not wide on the exit, because that can be a real death trap. Gwetzel now looking to make his way through on Kubo. Kubo on old tyres. Gwetzel round the outside at the double right-hander. What a move from the Scuderia Paracaro driver, and he put in all of his guts into that one. Great race for him so far. Danny into the pits.
Sobel got a bit unlucky. I don't know exactly which turn, the big hairpin, the bottom left. Sobel just got hit off by, I think it was maybe Danimator, who just got sent to the outside gravel there at the corner you just went through. That was an unfortunate incident.
Sobel will be a good driver to track for the rest of the race. Before his pit fiasco, he was running P4, which is better than he's finished this entire season. P5 at best. So a bit of a ho-hum year for the LSA co-pilot with their Hernandi definitely outperforming him. But this race could be a turning point for him.
Absolutely could. Hernandi's running in 3rd place. He's not pitted, nor has Grandy or Pamushas. Jeru is a pretty high new pitter. What was that, Hat?
Oh, the Danimator overtake on Gwetzel was quite an illustrious overtake, might I say, at the bottom left, bottom right corner there.
Yeah.
It was an interesting move.
2 giants of rating, Gwetzel and Danimator, both big Sunday League boys. Caddo is in 10th place. It looks like every single driver has been in every single position. I mean, I'd fear to do a positions per lap counter for this race, but he was last, and then he was 3rd, and now he's 10th, and that would probably be good enough for him come the end of the day. Grandy and Hernandi into the pits, and Caddo goes through in 8th place. Very much, I'd say, offset strategies. You look at Buda, and you look at Nuno, very much on the same strategy. Old tyres, Girouni and Pamushas 3rd and 4th on, well, Girouni on much fresher mediums. He's looking really good for a 2nd podium. Anything to comment here?
Yeah, Gwetzel tried to overtake Danimator at the bottom straight, and you could Danimator, you went really risky, just nearly pushing him to the gravel at the top side of that straight. Which, yeah, scared him enough to not make the overtake in that corner.
He's a clean racer, Danimator, but you don't want to get on the outside of a car trying to sweep through a corner that sees itself about half a car length ahead of you. So it's worth a note that, yeah, we've got about half a lap between Buda and Nuno, and then we've got the rest of the drivers. It's a 13.86 second delta. Buda is into the lane, and Nuno will be looking for a pit stop too, and they sort of touch a little bit, but they're fine. And most of the pack is making their way through that middle sector at the moment, that middle to last sector. It's Hernandi and Caddo side by side that we're watching here, and Caddo just slightly slipping through there, and Hernandi asking for him to slipstream him for the rest of the, well, stint, I presume. Chiruni in third, Danimator followed by Guetzli. I mean, what do you think we'll be able to see here for the fight for the podium here? Any predictions?
As SCP team manager, I of course hope Guetzli can get a mix in. I mean, Danimator is of course catching up. I think Chiruni, Danimator, Guetzli, big contenders. Corvid might be able to break in there. Those are my big picks for the podium. But and with the rate with how this race is going so far, hell, I could see Kraft getting on the podium.
Yeah. Well, I think everyone's had good bits and bad bits so far, that's for sure. Guetzli still sticking really... I mean, this is a drive beyond what people thought he would maybe be capable of. Go on.
Pimu, Antti, and Andrews are having an absolutely amazing battle for 11th right now.
Let's go look at that one. Pimu currently leads his old teammate, and Andrews, the super sub across many a team, once drove for Anti's B team, Black Blizzard, a fair long time ago now, but they're all on, well, Anti's on pretty fresh hards, Pimu is on even fresher, and Andrew is just that little bit older, and he's dropped away from them. Kubo will be pretty sad with 14th place at the moment. He had really good pace in Challenger League, pretty good place in qualifying, but he goes back through on his teammate now, and this is his chance to redeem himself somewhat. Caddo will come out of the pit lane in 13th, Eurus, then Kraft, Isto, then Suicide. Down in last position with his teammates, still running up in 6th place now, and he'll be into the pit lane in the next few laps or so. Jiruni still third for FGR, Corvid in 5th. This is the underrated driver pairing of the season. People didn't give them much of a chance after being stripped of Pamushas and Rito, but Jiruni goes in now. Corvid just goes down the main straight, and he will go through into that podium position. Guetzli up into P4 once again, and he has got a very fast Hungarian right behind him as they come down the main straight. He would probably have it in his best interest to let Hernandi through here and try a little bit of slipstreaming, because, yeah, it's difficult to do it those through this weavy middle sectors just as you come out through that hairpin. Tyres are a big issue when you're going through there. Right, anything to comment on Het or Goose?
Kraft's catching Andrews. That might be an interesting battle in a bit.
14th
really
versus 15th place for that. Pamushas and Anti up here. Go on.
I've got a little question for you. How many races do we reckon Buda has started in his SL career?
Ooh, it's got to be... Great question. It's something like 10 or 11.
This is his 21st SL race.
What? Really?
No, it's not. Oh my god, it is. Jesus Christ.
Jesus. It's been here longer than we thought.
Well, there you go. You caught me out with that one, Goose.
In line for his first victory in 21 races, Nuno is closing the gap, but he's holding on for dear life, and he's only got 12 laps left to do it.
Kraft and Andrews are going at it now.
Oh god. I'm going to lose my title as Stat King because of that one. That's not even fair. I was way off. I forgot about Season 9.
It's been overthrown.
Jesus, I'm getting old. Kraft, Isto, and Andrews looking for a bit of a battle here. We'll change back to third place because Corvin and Hernandi, it looks like Corvin was just into the grass there. And he is on old hards. He should be in pretty much this lap. Hernandi, yeah, a little bit better than him, and Grandi on about the same. People are getting pretty sick of that hard, but they're going to need to just hold it out a lap or two more and take that hard stint all the way to the checkered flag, because softs have not been the choice here. Jiruni's on fresher mediums. He's light those tyres this race. He's made 2 stops more than the man directly ahead of him on track. The man he's going for the overtake on and will let him through like it's a walk in the park for Jeru there as he weaves through the chicanes. Pirmushas might be a bit more tricky of a man to overtake. Jeru goes up the inside as the double right-hander, and Pemu didn't have the grip to fight that one. Jeru is looking electric here at the Kimi ring, and it is some soft rain coming right now. Sobel, even if he doesn't get a good finish in this race, should be commended for his weather guiding expertise there. Although if we did have Nomsky, he could probably tell you what it was going to be about 2 laps in advance. Hanandi takes the Inters. Interestingly, Grandi onto the wets, the home driver, the Finnish driver, looking to finish first. He's not going to do that
A lot
today.
of risk taking, not feeling it this time, it seems.
Yeah. Well, we've got
Quetzal's a big loser, yeah?
It's going to dry up. Will we see Nuno take a dry compound tyre? We will. We will. And that's put a huge spanner in the works for Buda, the Mayhem team. The Mayhem team who won the Constructors last season had Buda into that pit lane and had the tyres on the car and the car out the box just too soon. Nuno, who's only about 3 seconds behind, has put on a dry compound and will skate around for this middle sector. But my oh my, the weather is sunny, the track is drying, and it is drying fast. Buda still on the Inters as he comes into the final sector. Bone dry now with only a 4-second advantage, and 1 lap later than he last came in. Buda back into the pits. This is a calamity for the man looking to take his first win on his 21st appearance in Sunday League. Nuno coasts back through, and this could be a 6th win of the season for the Rapid Motorsport driver. 31 wins, that's more than some people have appearances. Jesus Christ, that's not good at all for the Estonian man, seeing this maybe as a sort of second home race after a lot of his Estonian tracks failed to make the cut of the highly competitive Sunday League track selection. Jaruni still running in a quiet 3rd place, but that is big, big, big news. Het.
Jurist and Isto battling it out. Isto just being pretty rough with it, I'd say. Jurist just got sent to the grass a bit, so I can't wait for that clip to end up in SL chat. Kraft and Andrews also, so a bit of a 4-way battle, I think, coming up back there.
Big battle here. Nordic sandwich, and we've got Pamushis and Danny right in the middle of it. Good meat to have in there. Danny is currently in 9th position. Jaruni will come out of the pit lane, and he'll come out of the pit lane in a pretty precarious spot. Well, he's got some clean air ahead of him, and he's got some clean air behind him. He's not in any immediate threat, but he will need to get back through on these washed ballers. Well, Anti's on pretty good tyres. It's Grandi and Danny side by side going up through the hairpin. Pamusha's on similar age, as is Grandi, as is Danny. These are all guys who got their strategies reset by the wet weather conditions. Kubo on the softs, those are starting to wear pretty badly, but he's really benefited. He's taken 3 stops fewer than Danny and Pamu in the positions behind him, and what was looking like a pretty shoddy race for him down in 14th has been immediately revived back into 6th. And remember, for all the pace this man's shown, he's never finished in the top 7 in Sunday League, and he'd love to do that today, but he will need to make one more stop onto a set of softs, probably, and then get that through to the end. Sobel battling Corvid, and it's not come off pretty for the Dutchman there. Corvid in 4th place, Hanandi in 3rd. Corvid will fight tooth and nail for a podium, not expecting any more pit stops. It is a race of pure attrition between him and the Hungarian man who has won twice in Sunday League. Corvid is right up behind him here, and we've got just 6 laps to go. Suicide has tailed off the back of the pack, I'm afraid to say. Uris and Isto and Kraft and Andrews all pretty close to each other, and Sobel and Kubo into the pit lane. We'll take a quick look at them because Sobel's come out of the pits in 11th. Less lucky is Kubo, who's in 13th, and it's Gwetsley in 12th place. He'll be a little upset with that after looking really good early on. Kado currently occupies 10th position. Jaruni needs to make up the time on this big pack. This is huge potential for him if he can get as high as 5th come the end of the race. We've got a big gap up to Corvid versus Hanandi, then Buda, who is already losing time to Nuno, and that gap that didn't change between them before the weather certainly isn't changing afterwards.
Oh, no.
What's happened here?
Kado in the pit wall.
Kado in the pits! Oh no, he was running in 10th.
Big 3-way battle for 10th between, I think, it was Gwetsley and Sobel or Kubo.
Oh no.
With the 3 of them, and Kado just got the short end of the stick, sending it to the pit wall.
Kado. He was running in 10th position. That's 16th for him now. He's going to look to make up a couple spots. He needs to not give up and just continue. But I'm sure in the driver radio that we know exists between the RMC drivers, Nuno would have had an earful of that one. As he's still trying to keep the lead of the race. Remember, Anti heads this pack. We've got 2 major fights going on. It's Hanandi v Corvid coming into the hairpin at the end of the long straight. Hernandi on the inside, Corvid switches back, and Corvid might just take his first podium here. Meanwhile, going into the hairpin is Danny going deep. Anti ducks back under, Pamucius looks for a move here, and Grandy's still there. Jaruni has caught the pack, and he needs to make 4 overtakes in less than 4 laps in order to get back up into a very good potential 5th place, but it looks like his teammate will be the one fighting for the podium even after Jeru's early good form. It's just a lot of stops for those mediums that have hindered him. He's gotten past Grandy, thrown Pamucius into turn 1. Can he get Danimator and finally compete it with Anti on the exit of the hairpin? Not quite, and he does get a tap there, meaning Danny goes back through, but the straight line speed of that medium is really strong, and Jaruni up into 5th position when he gets to the end of the straight. That is fantastic overtaking work from the Belarusian man, currently in 5th position. He is a real talent in Sunday League. That is fantastic to see. Het, anything to comment?
Quetzley went onto the grass a little bit, lost the place to Sobel there to cap off an unlucky last quarter of the race since that rain. That's really all I saw. Andrews just got shoved, but yeah, what's new?
Round 2.
So yeah.
Jaruni, Pamucius, Anti, Danny, Grandy, and Kubo not far behind. They're going to go 4 wide into the corner. Anti moves to block off Danny. That was a questionable move there. And Jaruni slightly wide. Anti up the inside. Grandy still in this. Jeru just jumping around a little bit there. And Grandy right behind. He's going to make the move through as Jeru. And it's all coming to a head. Sobel and Kubo have joined this fight. This is a fight from 11th up to 5th position. This is huge here. And the final lap is well underway at the hands of Nuno, just a lap ahead of his teammate, who has looked very confident in his pace, pretty much on level terms with Buda all race long. Ooh. We'll have a look at them now, because Nuno rounds the final corner, and he will win in Finland. Nuno wins at the Kimi Ring, and Buda maybe deserved to win this one. He was very good today. We're not going to miss the battles. We're going to get them as they come up to the line. It's still a fight over the podium positions here. Corvid looking at that first podium. He's looking right at the rear diffuser of Hernandi, but Hernandi takes the podium, and Pamucius heads this train that's still going here. Pamu ahead of Anti. Can Grandy get his teammate coming up to the line? We're not sure about that one. That's a photo finish. Kubo next across it, then Jaruni and Danny and Gwetzley and Sobel, and we have no idea what order that was all in. Kado definitely does take 13th place. He'll be a bit disappointed with that, but a good redemption. Andre's ahead of Kraft, and it's going to be Isto just clear of Eurus, and Suicide still finishing out. They're all exhausted drivers in that gravel trap at turn 1. And oh my word, Goose, your thoughts on that race? Or Het?
That was great stuff. I mean, as the SCP boss, it is of course a shame not to see Wesley a little up higher that I personally think he deserved. Great racing all round. That was phenomenal stuff.
Really entertaining stuff at the Kimi Ring, and after 26 minutes and 55 seconds, Nuno wins the Finnish Grand Prix. Finished first here today. Buda second, and Corvid is classified on the podium. That will go to a post-race investigation, because on my screen it did look like that was Hernandi. That will have to be sorted out via FIA homologation, but that might be a first podium for the Australian, who I have no doubt saw himself ahead on his screen due to ping issues. Pamucius will take 5th, and the classified order is Pamucius ahead of Anti in 6th, Grandy in 7th. The Nordics, after some poor starts, particularly from Anti, will be really pleased to be back up the order, as will Pamucius and Kubo. Everyone was all over the place in this race, but Kubo into 8th. Tied best result and the fastest lap just to top it off. Lovely work from him. Jaruni takes 9th and Danimator 10th. That is a big spanner in the works. That might even be a Nuno confirmed championship. Pretty much, if not mathematically, then he's not far off it. Sobel will take 11th ahead of Gwetzley, a very solid 12th, and Kado recovering to 13th after tragedy late on into the pit wall. Andrews 14th steps in for FLF this race. Kraft in 15th place. Isto 16th ahead of Urist, and Suicide just a bit off the back of that pack. Can we get a post-race interview maybe with Nuno if he is in the VC? Not sure if he is. Buda perhaps, but poor Buda. That's got to be a devastating one for him. Final thoughts from Goose and Het.
Buda has been saying that this game hates him. He's a very
passionate
what's the right
man.
Word? It's unfortunate to see him lose it in this way.
Such entertaining racing though. I mean, Corvid, we're not sure about the actual podium classification yet, if it's 3rd or 4th place there, but what a race from you regardless. You've got to be happy with that one.
Dude, I'm The race start went like as well as I could have asked for. The pace was really good. I made the right calls with the rain as well. I was really struggling on those before my final pit stop, and I was just like thought risking it would have been worth it, and it turned out it was the way to go. The end.
Great result there. And Kubo, 8th place and fastest lap for you. How did that one feel?
I thought my race was over. I was in the depths of the back, and then the light rain came. I stayed out. Sun came. I got so many positions. I had to pit again, and I got so many. I overtook so much at the end, but honestly, such a dirty race. Everyone forcing each other off. It was not a fun race to be in.
Yeah, you literally killed me in that last.
You were
I
gonna
don't know
kill
the
me. I
end.
had to swerve to stay on the track. I'm sorry you ended up going into the
I
grass.
ended up
because of
Breaking
that.
news,
Yeah.
Urist is dead currently. He's been literally killed in the Finnish Grand Prix. But, driver fatalities aside, that was a fantastic race, and we'll have to see how it goes for the Dutch Grand Prix next time. Will Nuno wrap up the championship? Has he done it already? We don't actually know yet. For now,
Run down the grid. You
I
need to
did.
run down?
Yeah.
Oh, you did? I missed it. Okay.
yeah. Piss off,
My
Ed.
bad.
Bye-bye.